Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Derek, and today I am joined by
Karen.
Karen, and we are going to be discussing what is happening on this week. Tommy, roll the credits, and we'll get into it. So it was a good week. We're moving along a little bit, you know.
Yeah, we got lucky doing more than playing cards, although not much more.
Yeah, well, we had, we're moving there. We're getting there. It's good. Good progress. So we started off with Liz and Willow talking about Lulu and the transplant, and Lulu is deteriorating at this moment in time. It's looking like she might need a whole new liver. So I don't know if Lucky's going to be able to donate in time. We'll see what happens with that.
Well, I mean, I think what it's going to turn out to be is Isaiah is going to do that surgery and prove that he's like some kind of genius doctor. Because they
Yeah.
always love to bring a doctor on and be like, oh,
Mhm.
by the way, he's the greatest doctor in his field, and he
Yeah.
just happens to be here.
Yeah. Well, since you brought him up, we'll talk about him and Jordan, which I liked their scenes together. She brought him something to eat from somewhere that so he doesn't have to have hospital food. They had a really
She
good
brought
conversation.
him like a breakfast pastry, it
Yeah,
looked like,
something.
and he was kind of
Mm,
taking little crummies off of it because you can't you can't say your dialogue and munch down on like a pastry.
right. But yeah, I think they have a lot of potential. I think they're going to be end up. Hopefully, they'll end up being a couple, and I think we'll be good together.
I like their energy. I
Yeah.
like that we're getting to see another side of Jordan.
Hmm.
Um, because I feel like she's been in the background for a long time, and this week they really pushed her forward, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and we'll get to this later. But she was my one of my favorite scenes with her this week. It was really good. Um, so Curtis and TJ are also talking about his relationship with Molly at what's the name of this club?
Savoy,
Savoy.
right?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
so long since I've like seen. They're not really on
I
anymore.
don't know why I want to call it like Savoir Faire or something. It's just the
Yeah,
Savoy. It's not that fancy. I do like this club, even though I have to tell you that their light up tables
yeah,
always look like they're weird blocks of ice, and I'm always very
yeah. It
confused by
does.
them. And
Yeah,
I like what's the girl that works there? Nico?
Nico. Yeah,
Nico. Yeah, I love her. I wish she was on more often. Like
yeah.
sometimes the bit players are really good and you just really
She's a
enjoy
good
seeing
one.
them.
Sure, we don't see her enough.
Give her
And
lines,
now that
give
we're
her a
back in
part.
the Savoy, we need Miss Wu back. We need Selena Wu back.
Where is Selena? I love her. She has so much
I
potential.
know.
I
She
thought she
really
was gonna
does.
murder Sunny and she didn't.
I know. Well, maybe she'll pop up sooner or later, I hope, because we have some people popping up now that have been gone a while. So,
Mm.
and then Molly and Dex meet up at some dive bar, and Molly confides in him about everything she's going through and her mom being in prison, and I don't know. They seem to be striking up a friendship because they had scenes together a couple weeks ago in the park.
I think Molly deserves this. She needs a
Mhm.
friend who's outside of this situation because everybody she knows is tangentially involved in this situation. And
Yeah.
Dex is a decent guy. I don't know if they're testing them because it looks like Molly and TJ are heading for a breakup, but I don't know if
Mhm.
they're testing them because people weren't too happy about Joss and Dex, and then they kind of revamped their relationship, and now it's kind of good. So of course now it's time to break them up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're testing Molly with a bunch of people to see like what's going on, but
Also, I feel like Molly was reaching out to TJ and TJ wasn't available, and then Dex just kind of was there when she needed someone. She needed a friend.
right. And I liked those scenes. I thought it was good that Molly has someone to talk to that's not a family member and not someone that is prejudiced against Christina. So
I
that's always
also love that she was like, if I need to have a moment to myself, I got to go to the crappiest bar in town.
yeah, you really did. But that's fine. Good for her.
Yeah.
We also had some fun scenes with Felicia and Robert. I like that they were bringing up some history and things like they haven't been. Robert hasn't really been on that much lately, so it was good
I
to see
think
him.
sometimes I get really upset that the show forgets that Felicia is Robert's sister-in-law and has been
Yeah,
for a long time, and they're actually close.
they are.
And Felicia used to be an adventuress, and she is an
Mm,
Aztec princess. And I think like the show sometimes forgets her history of how cool she is.
yeah. And then we have Brennan comes in and she's like, "Oh, you're Frisco's ex-wife," and so we get a little more history coming up. That's always fun to hear, like about the characters that are not on the canvas anymore.
I feel like Frisco is the most like mentioned character that hasn't been on in 100 years. Like
Yeah, I agree.
anytime there's a situation with the WSB, someone's like, "Well, we're going to call Frisco," and then there was the whole thing where Frisco got ousted. All of this
Mhm,
happening with Jack Wagner not being anywhere near the canvas ever, and I kind of like
mhm,
that. Like you said, that these people do still exist outside the General Hospital bubble.
mhm. Yeah. So Jocelyn's working at Kelly's, and Carly comes in, and they have a confrontation again. And that's great scenes. I love Jocelyn.
She's killing it.
Yeah, my favorite line was, "That's reassuring and also terrifying."
I don't know who's writing her dialogue right now specifically, but they
Yeah,
are killing it because
yeah.
she encapsulates how I feel about Carly all the time. I love Carly on her own. I hate
Mhm,
Carly with Sunny because Carly always defers to whatever Sunny wants, regardless of how
mhm.
it's going to damage her or hurt her family, like this blind loyalty. And Jocelyn just keeps saying, "Do you really think Sunny would do it for you? Jason would, but would Sunny sacrifice
Yeah,
anything for you?" And the truth is, I don't think so. Maybe
right.
other people think so, maybe they're right, but I personally don't think he would. He uses her all the time. He's using her now.
Agreed. Mhm. Um, so we found out, as we suspected, that Portia switched the test results, as we
Of
knew.
course she did.
Yeah.
Never any doubt. I think she's gonna
Right.
blame Brad for it. Poor guy.
I agree. That's what I was thinking too. But she also had some scenes with Terry, which were good because she laid into Terry about hiring Brad, but and Terry's like, "Well, he's been on the roster. I don't know why you didn't see him." So Portia's apparently very distracted right now. And
Yeah, though okay, so she's like the co-chief of staff, right?
yeah,
So should she not know who's been hired and fired? Wouldn't she have received an email or like a
right.
Slack that would have told her that
Well,
Brad
why
was
did
back on the
Terry have to
payroll?
tell her personally? Why can't she just look at the
I don't know. It's starting to feel
read?
like Terry's doing the job and Portia's running around crazy.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't.
basically what it is.
Poor Terry. She's just like, I'm just doing my job, man.
Yeah. All right. So we haven't talked much about Natalia. Now we'll get into
Ugh,
Natalia.
okay.
Don't You don't like her? I know.
No.
I'm sure you don't like her either.
No.
I don't like her chemistry with Sunny. I don't like the character. She's a bigot. She's, homophobic. Can't deal with her.
I feel like they failed in her introduction. I don't know where they were going with the
Hmm.
storyline originally, but I think they tried to course correct because they wanted to keep Ava LaRue, which why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
She's a really talented actress who I never liked as Maria Santos on All My Children because I thought she was sanctimonious on there. And she comes on here and she's sanctimonious again. And I'm like, Ava, please stop doing this to me. I want to love you.
Hmm.
And I just hate her because of her introduction with her being bigoted. It really just puts a bad taste in my mouth. And anytime she starts talking and they start going, "Oh, you didn't do anything wrong. You were the one that was
Hmm.
secretly recorded by Ava." I'm like, "You're the one standing there saying
Hmm.
all that horrible stuff and you got caught."
It's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, so why is everyone in town acting like Ava did something wrong, which she recorded somebody being a bigot and she played it and she
Hmm.
used it to her own advantage, but she's Ava. Ugh. So like I
Hmm.
just I can't stand it when people are like, "Oh, well, she feels bad about it. She chased her own daughter out of town."
Yeah, she did. Who could have stayed and you could have said goodbye to her instead.
Yeah.
We could keep
I
Sam, get rid of Natalia too.
I don't like her chemistry with Sunny
I
at
don't
all.
either. Mm-mm. And they feel like they're gonna put them together or they're gonna play around with it a little bit, but it's just not working.
Not for me. No.
I don't think anybody. I don't know anyone who's a Natalia Sunny fan. If you are, comment and let us know if you're a Natalia Sunny.
Well, I know there's always something for somebody. So maybe
Yeah.
somebody's into it. I just feel like the only way to make it work is to actually sit down and address her homophobic comments less than, oh, I
Mhm.
really shouldn't have gotten caught saying it, which is the
Mhm.
most she's apologized is like saying she shouldn't have said those things where she could have been recorded. She never said that she felt bad about what she said about her own kid and
Never
the
apologized,
community.
never felt bad.
No. And
Mm-mm.
like, so I think until they kind of come up into her for that, it's going to be really hard for a large portion of the audience to like
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, no one's gonna root for her until she has some accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Molly and TJ end up meeting at the hospital. I think it's the next day. Molly surprises TJ with some breakfast, some
Sweet.
bagels, and they talk about Christina and how she thinks she had something to do with John Cates' murder.
Right.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, they're also I like those scenes. I think TJ and Molly are gonna hopefully find their way back together. I like them together, but I don't know. I feel like they're definitely teasing a breakup, but
Well, the one problem I have with this is he's mad at her for not reaching out, but
yeah,
she did reach out. She called him from the bar and couldn't
yeah,
get
she
him.
did.
The breakfast is the second reach out. And immediately
Mhm.
when Stella comes, he complains about her not reaching out. And she had just made two attempts
To reach
to,
out. Mhm.
yeah. And he didn't rebuff them. He just seemed awkward at the breakfast, like he didn't know how to react in a lot of ways. And I
I,
still think this is a problem with him wanting her to mourn the exact same way he is, and he can't understand that she is going to do it differently.
I agree, and I think TJ needs an immediate response, and Molly's responses are pretty delayed. So I think that's what it is as well.
She processes. She takes her
Yeah,
time and she processes. And he's, I guess maybe he's more emotionally healthy. He's not a Davis, but like
mhm,
he he just is like, we need to mourn, we need to be sad. And she's like, I need a moment to think and sit with this. And he's like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing what I'm doing. Be sad now. And then he's mad at her for not being able to process the way he wants her to. And I think it's unfair, but it's human.
I agree.
I
Yeah,
also like
everybody
TJ.
deals with grief in their own way, and
Yeah.
yeah, but so Chase shows up at Christina's while she's with Dante, and he is going to interrogate her about her whereabouts on the night of Jam Case's murder.
Gently question her. Chase isn't really an interrogating type.
True. He's not. You're
He's
correct.
so sweet. And
Mhm.
he really doesn't come in there aggressively. He just says, I
Mm,
want to talk to you about your whereabouts. And then she starts flipping out and
right.
lying
Right.
immediately.
Yeah, I wrote that in my notes, but it wasn't really an interrogation. But yeah.
No, no. I mean, it was, yeah, it was just this, he's such a soft boy that he comes
Yeah.
in and it's funny, like, how did you get in the police department, sweet, sweet man?
Yeah.
But he was just like, "But where were you?" Like, very gently, and Dante
Yeah.
rightfully panics and goes to get her a lawyer immediately.
Yeah, he calls Diane up, and then
Mhm.
Diane shows up and shuts it down. But Christina did mention one thing that I think is going to get her in trouble. She told Chase that she got a ride share that night, as opposed to driving her mom's car, which she actually did, and she was at the Quartermaines that night with
Yep.
with the intention of killing Jagger or
Yeah,
John.
she's digging the hole deeper on Alexis.
Yeah, and I think that comment's going to get her in a little bit of trouble.
Mhm.
But Diane said that anything she said to him is not admissible because he didn't have a lawyer. She didn't have a lawyer with her.
Um,
But
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
about that.
I don't know if that's true. I think it she spoke to him, and
Mhm.
anything you say to the cops can be used against you.
Mhm.
But it is kind of in a hearsay situation, so I don't know.
Mhm.
But like he came there officially and asked her as a police officer, that counts.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to make Chase back off.
Mhm.
But
Well, and
I
Chase
don't
can
know.
easily check to see if she had a ride share that night, and she didn't. So,
Yeah. And she knows she messed up. That's the thing is
mhm.
like she did the Davis girls thing where she panicked and impulsively
Right,
said
and
stuff.
she later told Sonny about it, and so she knows she messed up. So we'll see
What
what
is
happens
wrong with
with
these
that.
people? How many times does Diane have to say, don't talk to the police? Like, never say a word. Like, she's the, like, her sister's a lawyer, her mother's a lawyer, Diane's a lawyer. There's so many lawyers around her, and every time they're like, "Don't talk to the police," and every time, to the
They
police.
don't shut up.
Never. That's why Diana is always like, "Jason is my favorite client, and I hate the rest of you,"
Well, yeah.
because Jason just sits there and never says a
Doesn't
word.
say a word. So I did like the scenes between Heather and Alexis in jail where they
Perfect.
bonded over grandchildren or whatever, and Heather told her she was sorry about losing the baby.
Watching the horror on Alexis's face as she realized that Heather was saying sweet, relatable things was hilarious.
That was really funny. Yeah, she's like, "Is this Heather?"
Yeah. Well, this is part of our mission to rehab Heather. This like
Yeah,
there's no way. Listen, I've been watching Heather for a long time and she's crazy pants. She's never going to be sane. That's just not possible. But I love this and I know some people hate it, but I don't care. I love Heather and I want her free.
I want her free too, but I feel like this is temporary. Her something's gonna happen, and she's gonna be crazy again. Like I
Mm,
don't,
I
maybe
mean,
not.
she's never going to be sane. I don't ever believe she's
Okay,
going to be
more
sane.
crazy than she is.
It depends on if you think she's going to be homicidal.
Right, right. So Martin arrives at the jail, and Alexis goes to see him and finds out that he is her lawyer, courtesy of Sonny. Um, I remind me what happened. Oh, Martin was kind of gonna try to pin it on Sonny, but Alexis is afraid that Christina is gonna get
Okay.
in trouble.
Martin says that we need
Mhm.
to give them someone else to look
Another
at.
suspect, yeah. Hmm.
And Alexis is afraid that if they tell the truth, it points the finger directly at Christina. And she's right, because Christina had the car. Christina went to the Quartermains. Christina said she was going to kill Jagger. She also
Hmm.
said one down, one to go.
She did.
And nobody thought, let's get her a shrink. They were all just, it's fine.
She's fine. She's just grieving.
Right. So Martin is like, well, listen, if we can't do that, we got to back the bus up over Sunny because
Hmm.
that's our only other option. And she's like, well, can't you do anything else? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, didn't Sonny hire you? And he's like, oh,
Hmm.
well, he hired me to save you. So if I
Yeah,
have to trash him to do that, then I will. And I was like, that's a good lawyer right there.
yeah. And Jordan visits Alexis later on, and this is my
Yes.
favorite scene of the week because I like that Alexis acknowledged that what Christina was doing was wrong. That she thought she would come out of it once the hormones wore off, and
Right.
once she would never actually go through with it. But it seems like she would have. I think she would have.
I think it was wishful thinking on Alexis's part, and I think
Yeah.
I loved that she got a chance to explain to Jordan her process
Yes.
and what she was thinking because everyone thinks that Alexis was like, I'm going to help Christina with her petition. And meanwhile, Alexis is like, do you really want to do this? You should probably not do this. She's your sister. Why would you do this? And Christina is just like, because they're going to break up and TJ's going to take the baby and we're never going to have the baby and all this crazy stuff. And
Hmm.
again, they all attributed it to hormones instead of the fact that maybe Christina needed a psychiatrist a little earlier to deal with her feelings on surrogacy, which she was not handling well. But they kept it all in house instead of dealing with it. And poor Molly and TJ are dealing with the fallout.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my favorite scene of the week, just because I liked Jordan and Heather, not Heather, Alexis's, I guess, closeness, and I think that Jordan really understood her, and I liked when she said that, TJ will always be my son, and
I
Jordan said,
love
I will
that.
always be my daughter. Yeah,
I love that.
that
But
was really sweet.
I really liked how they both acknowledged that with every insane thing going on, that neither one of
Hmm.
them has had the chance to sit down and
Hmm.
mourn the fact that they lost a grandchild that they were highly
Right. Hmm.
anticipating. And I
Hmm.
think that they are the only ones who know how the other one feels as the grandparents.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I thought that that was a very good moment of bonding for them. And again, Jordan killing it this week. Everywhere she goes, she's amazing.
Hmm.
I'm really excited that they've decided to give her more to do because I've always really liked her.
Yeah, and this actress is really good too, and I'm
Yeah.
glad she's having a chance to shine as well. She's doing a great job. I forget her name, Tanisa Harper, I think her name is.
I'm so
But
bad with
she's
names.
great.
You have to be on the show for 30 years before I know your name. It's terrible.
Yeah. Let's see. Who did we miss?
Oh, well, we haven't talked about the big
Let's
storyline.
save that for last.
Okay. Um,
Oh, Drew and Willow.
uh,
Drew just won't leave Willow alone. Like, come on. She's told you repeatedly that she doesn't want to be bothered, that she doesn't want to have anything to do with you, and you just continually follow her, and it's just getting old. Leave Willow alone.
I cannot stand this because okay, so first off, let's talk about the Quartermains for a minute. So
Yeah.
we have again, we're talking about ELQ, which warms my dark heart. I love ELQ. So
Yeah.
Ned is very rightly in a bad position where it's Drew and Michael versus Ned.
Right.
And Ned's like, this is not a great situation to be in. And they're like, it's all your fault because you went to Valentine and got him to help you instead of us, and completely forgot the part about how they were going to railroad Ned right out of his own family business. That they
Mhm.
forgot about entirely. None of that happened.
Mhm.
This is just Ned being a dick. And Ned is like, rightly so. He's like,
Mhm.
listen, it's not about you, Junior. I don't trust Drew. And
Right.
he's like, he's got that Quartermain in him. He's going to come for us, and you need to be ready or you're going to get stabbed in the back. And
Exactly.
Ned turns out to be 150% correct.
That was another highlight. Yes, a little James. Maxie needs Ned to watch James for a few minutes, and he asks some cute questions about kissing, and then he says, "Well, why is Willow unhappy that you kissed her?" And Ned's face was his reaction.
Ned, okay, so Ned for the win, right?
Yeah,
He's really good with children. He always
yeah.
has been.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, Max is like, can I leave James here with you for a minute? And James is like, hi, I'm going to drop the biggest piece of
Mhm.
information in your lap.
Yeah.
And Ned is just like, oh crap.
And I love that it's Ned that gets this information before anybody else. He's the perfect person to receive it.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. This is like perfection because he's going to use this in some way.
Oh, you
And
know he will.
I don't know how yet, but I'm really excited to
I'm
see.
so excited to see what transpires with that.
Oh, and just as a side, Jordan's name is Tanisha Harper.
That's what I thought it was. Okay.
You're close. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
very close. But
Mhm.
she's amazing. I think she
Mhm.
might be my favorite of the Jordans. Although
Yeah.
sometimes you get
They're all
recast a
good.
lot.
They were all good.
I've never disliked Jordan. I think she's a great
No.
character, and all the
Mm-mm.
girls have done a wonderful. It's like Carly's. I love all the Carlys.
Yeah. And they're all special in their own ways. Like
They're all unique.
I couldn't see Sarah Brown playing Carly now, and I couldn't see
No,
Tamara Braun playing Carly now either. Like,
I don't know. Tamara Brown,
yeah,
maybe.
maybe. Your favorite?
No, actually,
You don't have to.
Laura Wright is kind of my favorite.
Yeah.
I just love how especially this week, if when
Mhm.
she was forced to have dinner with Sunny,
Mhm.
and the way she stood
Oh, that was
across
great.
from him
Mhm.
and she just basically tried not to glare at him the entire time. I was loving it. I thought Laura Wright was killing it this
It was
week. She
great.
really
And
was.
then meanwhile, they're trying to have a facade that they're actually like reconnecting, and it's like
Right. And then Sunny goes right to another table and
right to
sits
talk
with
to
another
Natalia.
woman. Right after Diane was like to Carly, you can't be flirting with Jack Brennan. You can't be flirting with anyone. You have to be flirting with Sunny. So
Mhm.
now this alibi is taking over all the rest of Carly's life that she has to deal with this scenario.
Right.
And she
No,
didn't
no,
even
no.
know. That's on her for always trusting
Mhm.
Sunny because like she didn't know what she was signing up for when he asked her for an alibi. And she was just
Right.
going to be like play it off like a one night stand, move on with your day. And now Diana's like we can't have that. And then she has to play by the rules and then Sunny just goes and does whatever the hell he wants. That was
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Right. And we also circling back to Carly, we also she had a scene with Sam this week. Kelly
Yes.
Monaco was back in the role.
Yay.
Yeah. And I liked her in the scene. Like
Yeah, she was hot.
she
She
was
did
really
great.
good. And this is the most I've fire I've seen in Kelly Monaco in a while. Like most, like
Well, let's face it, they haven't really given Kelly Monaco anything to do
I
in a
agree.
while.
Mhm.
So this
But
was great.
she killed this scene. She was really good. She wanted Carly to recant her statement and help clear her mother. Carly said, "Why? Because I'm telling the truth." And Sam's like, "This is bullshit. You're not. We both know that Sonny's not innocent."
I think she got through to Carly.
You think
I
so?
do. Yeah, because remember, Alexis told Martin that the weak link is Carly.
Yes,
And
she did.
when Sam came at Carly, she knew that Sam was right through the entire conversation. Her defense
Mhm,
of Sonny was half-assed. She was just
mhm,
kind of like, "Oh, because that's what happened." And Sam's like,
mhm.
"You know damn well that that's not what happened."
Right.
And she does. And the thing is, Sam is like, "Why does my family always have to suffer for your family to be okay?" And even sending Jason out into the void to help your cousin survive. What about my
Mhm.
kids? What about my
Right.
sisters? What about my mother? And Carly's just standing there, and you could see on her face, she was kind of like, I have completely screwed Sam's family over. And in the case with Jason, she's never going to back down on that. She does believe that Jason is 100% the solution to every problem.
Yeah,
He just is.
she does.
He's like the superhero of General Hospital. So like it's or villain,
Mhm,
depending on the week. And
mhm.
so she's not going to feel bad about that. But I do think she felt bad about Alexis because she knows for a fact that Sonny murdered Jagger. She
Yes.
knows it. That's a truth she knows. And when they were at the dinner and Martin was watching them, he could see the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
He saw the cracks. And I think maybe this could be the time when Carly flips.
On Sunny,
Eh,
I don't know. I don't
eh,
think so.
come on.
We can dream. We can dream.
I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming big.
Also, I like the scenes with Felicia and Liz when they compared Lucky and Frisco taking off and
I
or
loved
taking off
that.
and abandoning their families. It's good to see them bonding, having a moment over that because Felicia's been through what Liz has been through, and Lucky is on his way back, as we know, and she's not sure how she's going to handle his return. She's not sure how Aiden's going to handle his return. So,
And on the flip side of that, I think with the Scorpio, Jones family,
mhm,
they got a long time to make peace with it. And I believe that Maxie could give two craps about Frisco Jones because her father has always been Max Scorpio. Like he's been
agreed.
raising them since they were what, a couple years old? Like they were little
Mhm.
girls
They
when they
were.
started going back and forth. So, like,
Mhm,
as far as she's concerned, Mac has been her father. She treats Mac as her father. And I don't even
mhm,
know what she would do if Frisco came back.
mhm.
Whereas Liz is in a slightly different position because her relationships, well, they've ended in a lot of death.
Yeah.
And of course,
A lot
because,
of
we
death
go.
and destruction and craziness, yeah.
So like her sons don't really have that
Mhm,
um secondary father, like that replacement father figure, that stepfather who, like they did in Franco, and then Franco was murdered. Like that man that came in and was like, I'm gonna be there for these kids. So like you're saying, like when Lucky comes back, how will his kid react? And also, um, Cameron, because he was raising that kid and then he
mhm,
dipped. So like, how is that? I mean, I would be furious with him if I were Liz, but I don't know how they're gonna handle that.
mhm. Als So I wanna talk about Tracy.
I
I
love
think
Tracy.
Jane Elliott killed it this week. She was great.
Always.
Always, always.
Always.
I loved her scenes with Stella in the park where she admitted and I like vulnerable Tracy. I like Tracy when she kind of she comes off as like a terrible, horrible person, but she's really not. Underneath it all, there's something going on.
She was
That's
raised by a
mhm.
misogynistic
Yeah,
jerk
yeah,
and her sweetest pie mother who ran circles around that man. So, of course,
yeah.
she's a clever, self sufficient, independent woman, but she had
Mhm,
to be because she should have been the heir to ELQ. And because she was a woman,
mhm.
Edward wouldn't let her have it. And
Yeah.
what did she do? She tried to kill him.
Mhm. Yeah.
But she deeply loved her parents. But she's a flawed individual. She has a hard time
Mhm.
caring because
Yeah.
people have treated her like crap her entire life because she's a strong, independent woman and they hate that.
Yeah,
But
and also
she's also really abrasive.
yeah, and she's afraid of losing people because she's already lost so many people in her life as well.
Well, her brother used to be like Alan used to be the one that could bring out the softer side of her.
Mhm.
And, when he was haunting her, that was like apparent that even in her mind, she believed that Alan was the only one that could soften her up. And then Luke comes along, and even though I don't like that storyline,
Mhm.
he she thinks he brought a softer side out in her. And then she comes back to town. She doesn't have her parents anymore. She doesn't have her brother anymore.
Mhm.
Her son is like her and Ned like are on good terms now, but her and Dylan, where's Dylan?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of family that she's not close to or aren't on the picture, and like Quartermains are always going to be fighting.
Mhm.
Always
Yeah,
be fighting Quartermains.
yeah. But yeah, like I said, those scenes with Stella are really good, and I like that she went to Cody and Sasha and apologized
I
for.
love how Stella can clock her in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, she can, and that's great. We need somebody like that on the show.
Yeah,
But
we do. We do. I think it's brilliant how she just comes in and goes, "Oh, so
mhm.
what the real problem is and
Yeah,
grow up
tell me
and
what's
stop not
really
putting up
wrong.
with your crap." Yeah. I love Stella. I don't know. Like they don't use her enough. I'm glad that was
I
she was
agree.
on, and I wish she was on more. Like they don't
Mhm.
do they need more of the older cast. Like I feel like Tracy's the only member of the older cast really integrated into storylines right now. And
Yeah.
obviously Laura and Kevin are off.
Mm.
Are they gonna come back with other people? Where they're just wandering around?
Yeah, they're somewhere in Africa, I guess, trying to
I
find
guess
Lucky.
I hope they come back having had a great vacation, maybe free a village or two. Seems like something Laura would do.
She would.
She's like, "I started a revolution. Sorry."
Okay, before we get into the big compound storyline in Somalia, um, Martin and Lucy had a scene together,
Oh,
and I felt so bad for Lucy.
crush my heart.
I know. Poor Lucy.
As you know, Lucy Coe is my favorite character of all time.
Yeah.
Um, I I literally I felt so bad for her. I started rewatching Port Charles because I wanted to see her happy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
when she came on in that cute I don't know if it's like tiger stripe pinky
Mhm.
orange dress, which I love.
Mhm.
And I was a little pissed because I felt like they reduced her to the character of Amy, like Amy Vining a little bit, because they have her now. Not that I don't love Amy. Amy was an incredible character that got a lot of crap for no reason. Um, Lucy's just sitting there gossiping.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, she runs her mouth, but usually, like, I don't know. It just felt very much out of character for Lucy, like, to care about that other storyline.
Yeah.
And then Martin comes
Really.
in and she's just hard on her sleeve. And I understand where Martin's coming from because of the whole Scott thing, because Scott's
Mhm.
always be ruining Lucy's life
Mhm.
because she can't stay away from him. Um,
But
but
weren't
like I
there
just felt
extenuating
bad.
circumstances? Didn't she think Martin was gone and then she
She
slept with
did.
Scott?
She
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Mhm.
But she's an impulsive character and she makes moves like that. And also she's been really I feel like she's inconsistent since in on Port Charles she was a vampire slayer. And I feel like they never really address that on General Hospital in a way that's satisfactory. They should have said that Kevin and Lucy broke up because Lucy went to the insane asylum or something for a few years and it didn't work out during that. But they really just don't address it. Like Kevin comes back, they're not together anymore. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
when did that happen? And how
Yeah.
did that happen? They were like
Well,
OTP, man. They were the
wasn't
one.
Port Charles Lucy's dream or most of it? Isn't that what they said?
I don't know. I've
I
asked
feel
Lynn
like that's
Herring
what
about
they.
it. She and I
Yeah.
laughed about it. I asked her at a fan event about it, and I was like, "Is it a dream? Was she crazy?" She's like, "I don't know. Neither. I don't think any of us knows because listen, Sam looks just like Livy, so that's
Mhm.
Kevin's daughter he doesn't have, and Lucy had another kid. Like there was another baby,
Where's
and
Christina? Yeah.
where is the baby? What happened? What happened to the lighthouse? The lighthouse is gone.
And Karen's still dead. So
Yeah, is Karen dead? If this storyline didn't happen, is Karen
yeah.
alive? Is Frank alive? Are these people alive? Like
Mhm. They
what?
should be if this is all a dream.
And then if characters carried back and forth, right? Because we had a couple characters that did come over to General Hospital.
Mhm.
Um, what's going on? Like, is that part of Port Charles a Misty Hellmouth from Buffy, or what's
Right?
going on? And it just leaves a lot of things up in the air. Like, it also affects Scott's storyline because he was
Mhm.
with Eve for a long time, and
Yeah.
she's just gone.
Eve never
Um,
existed.
she never existed because she was a figment of Lucy's imagination. Like, I would love a writer
Mhm.
to explore that and tell me what's going on. But anyway, back to the current storyline. So this makes it hard on me because like they've completely eliminated Lucy's intuition, which was a huge part of the
That was a
character
huge
for
part of her
all
character.
of time.
Mhm.
They've eliminated her intuition. They've made her a little more cartoony than she is. She's a well-developed, very nuanced character, and they've just kind of not written
Mhm.
that way for her for a while. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Hopefully now with Martin back, they can start realizing that Lucy is like the best character ever.
I would hope so. All right.
She is the greatest of all time. I will fight everyone.
All right. Compound storyline. Let's go.
Oh, here we go.
All right. So, where did we start off? Because I just watched Friday's episode. So, like, I'm thinking about Friday's episode. Where did we, was it, what happened first?
Is okay. So they all went to the compound, right? That they got to the
Right. Because
compound.
the poker game, and then they were going to continue the
They
game.
switched out of their fancy outfits into their
Right.
adventure clothes,
Right.
which means
Hmm.
Jason's back in his all black ensemble.
Hmm.
And they get to the compound, and Anna tries to strike up a business deal with them to
Hmm.
cover for the fact that they weren't exactly who they said they were at
Right.
the bar.
Right.
She gives numbers to Sidwell so he can check them out. Those numbers check out, but he thinks
Mhm.
the entire storyline is too convenient because he talked to that guy that knows
Yeah.
that Holly knows them.
Right.
He turns on everybody, and he decides, like, what? Meanwhile, Lucky's trying to escape with a plastic knife. That was hilarious. Good job,
Yeah.
buddy. Um, I love that he wasn't giving up. Good job. So they
Mhm.
end up bringing Lucky into the room, and Sidwell decides that if Jason wins, Anna and Jason get to go free. If
Mhm.
Lucky wins, Lucky and Holly get to go free. And Holly's like, "What is this crap? I just came here for diamonds." And he's
Right?
like, "Holly."
Emma
And
Simmons is killing it this week. She
she
was
is,
killing it.
I adore her. And she's just like, "I'm here for diamonds. I'm not involved in any of this stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, sure you aren't, sweetheart, whatever."
Right.
And then he does the sexist thing of ejecting the women from the room so the men can play poker.
Yeah.
So Anna doesn't even get to play for her own life. Lame.
No.
And they get shoved into the cell that Lucky was in. And they
Mhm.
have a conversation, which is so funny
It was
because
great. So
Anna
good.
is like, if I die, you need to go to Robert and tell him to tell my daughter that I love her. And Holly's like, there's no way in hell I can
Um,
leave here, go to Robert and tell him you're dead. I'm like, I'll
right.
die. He'll kill me.
Right. And I love her when she's like, "You bitch." That was the best delivery. Perfect delivery.
Emma Sands is so good. So she's so good. Every little thing she does, like the humor, she
Yeah.
injects into this ridiculous scenario where everyone's gonna die, and she's just like, "You bitch."
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
that's
like
your
when they also talked about their history a little bit because she's like, yeah, I didn't really know because I didn't watch in the '80s, so it was good to get some background on that. It was fun.
I also like the way they interacted because they
Yeah,
are frenemies. They
they
have a lot of
are.
people in common, but they
Mm,
only work together when their missions align.
yes.
So they are ops most of the time, and it's kind of fun to see them kind of
Mhm.
navigating that with one another because they're both very strong, intelligent
Right.
women. It's fun
So Lucky wins the hand, and then
because Jason throws the game
Jason throws the
because
game.
Jason always wins.
Mhm. Right. So Jason is taken back to the cell, and then Holly is taken out. and Jason and Anna have a little interaction, and they get scared and share a little kiss.
Okay, listen, I think that kiss was totally a setup because they knew the guards were coming and they wanted to look more afraid and more vulnerable than they
Okay,
are.
that makes
But
sense.
am I
Mhm.
against it? No. I'm less against that than I am against Drew and Willow. Bleh.
I agree, but I still think it's weird because of the history with Robin. It's a little
That
weird.
was like 20 years ago.
I know, but I'm
And
I'm
Sonny
stuck in
has slept
'90s.
with every woman on the show, including mothers and daughters. Hello, Alexis and Sam.
Correct. You are right.
So
I know, but
it I know a lot of
I
people are
need
against
Kimberly
it. I don't
McCall to
mind it.
come back for one day, just for one day to have a reaction to this. I just want her back for
She's
one day.
retired from acting. She's a
I
brilliant
know, I
director. Leave
know.
her alone. Let her live her life. She's a genius. Let her have fun.
I know. I She can do what she wants.
I mean, she was in Breakin'. I think she was in Breakin' too, Electric Boogaloo, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think, but I'm pretty sure she was very tiny in that.
Mhm. So meanwhile, in Port Charles, Carly is visiting Brennan, and she's trying to get a progress report on what's
Hmm.
happening with the rescue. And Brennan says, look yourself." And I guess there's like a satellite there that they're
Hmm.
watching over them. And Jason and Anna are taken out of the cell, and they're taken down to. I guess I don't know where are they taken
They
outside
took them,
somewhere.
took them out of the cells into basically what would be the quad, so they could
Okay.
make them kneel down and murder them execution
Right, I
style.
didn't know what it was called. Yeah, okay. So just in the nick of time, the WSB sends a drone in.
To strafe, yeah.
Yeah, and it explodes, and they are, all knocked out for a little while. But eventually, I think one of the guys dies, or he's very injured, and then Jason and Anna,
They take
overcome
the
the guns.
guns.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
take the guns, they overcome the guys, and then they go rescue Lucky. Go up to them.
Meanwhile, in the room, Holly and
Yes.
Lucky have found out that Sidwell
Mm,
is full of crap and he
yeah.
was never going to let them go.
Mhm.
Lucky is still handcuffed to the table, and Holly makes it possible. What does she do? She gives him something that he can. She kind of like does this move and gives him whatever it is he uses to get out of the handcuffs.
Was it a
Like it,
key
yeah. It wasn't a key. It was. I don't think it was a key,
with
but
a
she
wire?
definitely did. Yeah, she
Yeah.
definitely did something. She did this cool
Mhm.
little move and distracted Sipwell, and then she went
Mhm.
around him to try and distract him more from looking at because everything's
Mhm.
in Holly's eyes. If you watch Holly's eyes, it gives away what she's doing, and she
Mhm.
does a lot of like,
Yeah.
and I'm Lucky gets it right away, and he immediately starts working on trying to get himself out while they're all having the conversation. And Holly again tries to be like, "I'm only here for the diamonds,
Yeah, that's
not
all she
for
cares
the murdering." And he's like,
Mhm.
"Well, you were really pretty and you were really amusing, but you're also annoying, and now you're gonna die."
Sorry, he calls her English too. Isn't that what Luke called her?
Yes,
That's what I thought. I was like, "That's
yes.
interesting."
He called her that like 1980
Yeah.
something, like very early on. I think we're in 83,
Mhm.
maybe 82, 83.
Mhm. Yeah, I
When he meets
remember
her.
when Holly came back in, like, 2013, and they were in Cornice, uh, and kept calling her English.
Yeah. I don't know how people would feel about that as a nickname now, because like
No.
most English, like you want to be called British, not
Right,
very
right,
specifically one country. Um, but yeah, so they get into kind of a brawl in the room
Mhm.
over the gun. Um, Everybody's got the gun at one point. They're knocking each other around. And then
Yeah.
Lucky does the thing where they knock him down onto the table and they pistol whip him.
Mhm.
And the other two break in to save them, and Holly disappears immediately, which was so funny. I was like, she's
Mhm.
gone.
I
Goodbye.
love it, love it. So
And they're just like,
Holly.
leave him there. Let's go. And I'm like, no, you never leave them. Shoot him in the back of the head on your way out. Like, what are you doing? This is like a horror movie. And
Yeah.
then they get downstairs into like the open area, and like there's a Jeep. And they're like, well, they're getting ready to shoot. And Holly's in the Jeep, and she's like, get in the damn Jeep.
Yeah. Holly comes through.
And Jack
He's
Brennan
there.
comes through because he has
Yeah.
a plane on the airfield waiting for them because he's not allowed
Yes.
to do any of the things he's doing right now.
He's
So
not.
he's trying to be subtle in helping,
He's
which is like
yeah.
blowing up compound.
He's trying to please Carly too. So
Yes, and then there's weirdly that woman with a very thick accent. Did you think it was French? Was
I
it
thought it was French. Yeah, something like
okay?
that.
I wasn't sure if she was really French or she was doing an accent. It was to me, it wasn't. I couldn't tell.
And she's like, "You can't do this. You
Uh,
can't."
I'm a filthy American. I can't tell. I just thought her accent was very thick. And she was
Yeah.
like, none of this you can do. And Jack's like, well,
Mhm.
I already did it. So
Yeah, it's too late. It's over.
I love him. He could
Yeah.
he's so charming and like he has that old school 80s cool about him. I love him a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're on the plane and they think they're safe. They're like on the plane, they think they're safe. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, Brennan's like, yeah, they're in restricted airspace and they could be blown out of the sky at any point. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Right? I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, there's 4 passengers instead of 3. I wonder who else is on the plane." And, like, Holly's like, "I don't think anyone would let me on the plane if you,
If you weren't
if
here,
you weren't
you
here." And then she
would.
opens her bag and she has a giant diamond in her bag, and I'm like, "Girl."
Of course she does. Of course she does.
Of course she does. Great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good week. Yeah, fun stuff.
Mhm. And Anna feels lucky again on Lulu's condition,
Yes.
and about Nicholas and how his liver is damaged and he's not a potential donor.
Yeah.
And we end the week with Liz calling, or Lucky calling General Hospital, and Liz picking up the phone.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about I know I liked that Lucky asked about his mother immediately. He's like,
Yeah.
Where's my mom?" And they were like, "Looking for you." And he's like, "Where?" He wanted to make sure she was okay. He's like, "Do I
Yeah.
have to rescue my mom before I can go rescue my sister?" It's a lot of work for me to do. I mean, I've only been
Mhm.
ignoring these people for 10 plus years, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I do like I think he's doing such a great job of playing it. Like it's just like this whole awkward thing where you live your life and you forget all about these people and then someone's like, "Hey, remember all the people you're supposed to care about?" And you're like, "Oh no.
Yeah.
I've been doing my own thing for so long. I forgot
Right.
I have responsibilities."
Exactly. Yeah. Anything else?
I just really am excited to see what happens with some of the other characters. Like
Hmm.
you said, I think Isaiah and Jordan are the couple to watch.
Hmm.
I think this is a great opportunity for the show to give Ned a storyline that's going
Hmm.
to be awesome. Very classic 90s Quartermain shenanigans. I'm excited about that. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to finally get Lucky into Port Charles because we've been like it's
Hmm.
been so good to have him there, but like let's get him where he can cause the
And the
most
last
drama.
time he appeared, he wasn't even in Port Charles. I think Laura found him somewhere, and they had.
Was it in Ireland? Because he was in Ireland for a long
Yes, it was
time.
like 2015, I think, when
Yeah.
Anthony Geary was leaving the show. I think that.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
whole thing is just it's weird how long it's been since the character's been on
Hmm.
the canvas, even though the character's been played by what 3 different actors at this point.
Yeah.
And we're going back to the OG, so it's a lot of fun seeing him as a grown-up version of Lucky
Hmm.
because he is the grown-up version of Lucky, and he's the one that has the most Tony Geary energy. Like he's
Yeah.
like he does have it. He does.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, he would. He was the one that worked with him the longest.
Right. I'm sure he mentored him a lot through his time
Oh,
on the
I'm
show.
sure. I'm
Oh yeah.
sure.
All right. Well, that does it for this edition of Queers and Soaps. This is our GH coverage for this week. Be sure to check out our Patreon for some exclusive content, and we will see you next week.